most farmers suffer from, it's back pain.
Indeed, Rob. In fact, most people, I think the figure is either 95 or 98% of their life, percent of people will suffer low back pain sometime in their life. So there's an interesting figure for you.
Up to 98%.
Up to 98%. It's either 95 or 98. I remember reading in the paper many years ago. And the thing about low back pain is it's hardly ever a low back problem. Now people go, I've got sciatica, right? Probably one of the most misdiagnosed. Oh, I've got a slipped disc. There's another one.
Yeah, that's a cracker. Yeah, that's.
I've got a slipped disc, right? You have a vertebra here and a vertebra there, and the disc is a sort of a gelatinous, well, actually a cartilaginous piece in the middle with a gelatinous piece in the centre, right? And it is so strongly connected to the vertebra above and below by these things called Sharpie's fibres that if you have a traumatic accident, something that causes a massive shear, the disc will rip through the centre rather than tear away from either piece of bone. So they never, ever, ever, ever slip, right?
Right. And if you do that, that's a paraplegic anyway.
Yeah. You're pretty much too well versed at that point. So if what we talk about is a disc protrusion or a disc prolapse, that's a different matter. When a person sort of bends forward and off to one side and lifts something a little heavy and, you know, a bit stressed and eating the wrong foods and all of that, so everything's set up for the muscles not to do their job properly, then if there's your disc and there's the holes that are left by the two arteries that go in when you're just a little tacker, but they're gone by the time you're adolescent, right? Where those arteries were, there's an intrinsic weakness, and the jelly in the centre of the disc can come out there and compress the nerve root as it comes out, and you get severe pain down your leg. And that's about 1% of your backs. So it's, you know, and when I see that, I go, interesting, surgical referral. You're not my problem. And the main symptom the person will have there is severe pain, most of it below the knee. You know, I mean, various descriptions I've had are my leg is on fire. Someone poured molten lead down my gumboot, right? I'd rather be dead, you know, than put up with this. Big men in tears when you lift their leg up past about 30 degrees with straight leg raise. You know, they go, oh, I just can't handle that. You know, women have told me makes childbirth look like a bit of a cinch. So very severe pain, and most of it in the leg.
And that's surgery.
And that's surgery. So not a chiropractic problem, just a diagnostic one. You go, yeah. It's not even a diagnostic problem, actually. There's 3 or 4 tests you do, and they're, you know, way in the 90% reliability stakes. So, but here's the thing: most back pain, low back pain, has very little to do with your low back, right? I would say, if I was looking at the 2 biggest single causes of low back pain, they're the wrong food. You've got a food intolerance, right? There'll be a lot of people out there groaning, oh, he's on the food intolerance bandwagon. Well, okay, that's fine. I'll talk to that in a second. And the other major trigger is stress, right? Now, the indicator of a person in stress with a low back problem is they'll probably have a diaphragm fault, so they'll be doing a fair bit of this. Yep. Right? Deep sighing, that's a pretty good indicator. Although they'll have cranials, jaw grinder.
That's the pain in the jaw because you've been clenching your teeth?
Yeah, well, possibly not even as bad enough as pain. They're just a person who does a lot of this. They'll have the head held forward. And, you know, and if you ask them about, are you stressed? I'm not stressed.
Yeah, that's an indicator.
Okay, good. Now, your person who's got the food intolerance, right? And these are things that they don't even show up on blood tests yet. They've got to be much worse to show up on a blood test. I always find it amusing that people go, no problem, right? Severe food intolerance, and somehow it's a jump. Wouldn't you assume it's a continuum, right? Now let's say the blood test kicks in about here. I'm interested in these people, not down this end, but sort of just before the blood test and whatever. And here's the classic indicator. You get the person to sit on the floor, right, or on a bench or whatever, and they have their legs dead straight, and they have the capital C sign. They look like a big capital C with flat legs, right? And you go, now I want you to get a curve in your low back. So they go with a natural curve in the low back, and their knees pop up. And you go, no, put the knees down. Then the back pops out again. Capital C sign. This person will have pain in bed, right? They'll turn over. They'll be good for about up to 20 minutes. Probably not even that long, 5 minutes quite often. They'll wake up in the morning with back pain in bed, and they feel better within a couple of minutes of getting up. By the time they got back from the loo, the back pain's starting to settle. They don't mind working at this height, and they don't mind working at that height, but they hate working at a low bench. That's when it aches, right? Rob sitting there going,
Yeah, no,
I think I've got that.
There's
a lot of farmers out there going, there's a lot of farmers out there going, oh, I've got that. This is the part they won't like. The most common triggers are gluten, wheat, barley, oats and rye, dairy and soy, right? And what are they? They're foods that we never ever grew up with. We didn't evolve with them, right? These things have been introduced into our diet in the last 10,000 years. And everyone goes, oh, but if I give up dairy, what about, where am I going to get my calcium from? You go, well, we always got it from the rest of our food. If you've got a bad digestive system and you've got a food intolerance, then you're not absorbing well anyway, so what the hell? It's only babies that really need to have calcium from milk. You know. If we look at the Paleolithic record, you know, we look at teeth and bones, no mineral deficiencies in the Paleolithic era. They start from the Mesolithic forward, from when we started farming forward. Interesting little observation.
Come back to the stress symbols, because I keep thinking that I've got really bad posture and I've got to consciously stand up straight and pull my shoulders back.
Right. Now, and that's a bit of a classical way of looking at it, and chiropractors will tell you that, oh no, you've got bad posture. That's an excuse for them going, it's not I can't fix you, it's not you've got bad posture. You should be able to get most people right in 3 to 4 visits, and if you can't, they're part of that 10% that's got something odd going on that you're going to take some real looking for, or you're not approaching it the right way as a clinician. That'd be my experience, and I don't care whether that's a physio, chiropractor, osteopath, GP. Anyone should be able to get you right within about 4 visits, majority of people. Posture is a consequence of pain, not a cause, in my view, right? If you're like that and like that, it's because you're trying to take strain off areas, right? And if you stand upright, it doesn't feel right anyway. But see, if you think of that diaphragm again, right? If you've got a good wide open chest, you've got good breathing, right? Then you don't have to sigh because you're getting plenty of oxygen and you're dumping plenty of carbon dioxide. But if you're not doing that, your brain goes, take a breath, take a breath. So it's a classic indication of our stressed person. But the diaphragm, the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor, everything inside that cavity is fluid, whether it's blood, organs or food, right? And if you tighten all those muscles up, you create a hydraulic column, and that allows the bony rib cage to transmit force through that hydraulic column to the bony pelvis, taking weight off the back and providing good posture. So posture is not the cause of a problem, posture is the consequence of a problem.
Okay, I keep using myself as an example, but I get very...
You're a great example, Rob.
of all the things that can go wrong. I get really bad chest pains, and I've been chested and my heart's like that of an oxen. And then I'll have a really big cry, and my chest is fine again. Because that's
your diaphragm again, right? Why do we get this breathing problem with stress? Because we have learnt to suppress our emotions, and Kiwis are some of the best. We are possibly only surpassed by the British ruling class, right? The Aussies are even better than us at this.